Hello, and welcome to another video on Super Mario Sunshine. Today I wanted to talk about something that seems to be confusing to a lot of people, and that's how water works in this game. In my glitches video, people were asking why certain things happen in water and how they work. And I want to say before the video starts that nothing I'm saying is 100% fact. This is all logically inferred from being very experienced in Sunshine and its mechanics. I've actually not looked into the game's code to make this video, but once you break it down, the mechanics of water are pretty simple. So let's start off with a list of them. Everything in the water is darker, Mario drowns when swimming, Yoshi drowns, and fruits disappear. All these things are normal, but if you look at some glitches in the game having to do with water, you can tell that it's very hard to see the same mechanics allowing water to function the way it does to also cause these glitches. The first thing in understanding the mechanics of water is to realize there is no water at all, just like the spoon in the Matrix. It's actually just an area in 3D space that the game designates as causing Mario to swim, drown, kill fruit, etc., but that doesn't really explain it. As seen here, it is possible for fruit to be underwater and not disappear. This is because the water in the game is in fact not a three-dimensionally designated area, but a two-dimensional plane. This plane is the surface of the water, and it is the only thing the game thinks about in regards to water. Basically, if Mario passes through this plane, he's put in a water state. When he passes through it again to get out, this state goes away. But again, we just said water is actually a 2D plane, so how is it possible that Mario can be under the water and walk around normal? This is because all glitches that allow you to do this do so by getting into the area of water without passing through the surface. Again, the surface is the only thing that can put Mario into a swimming state, so if we go around it, we aren't swimming. This again proves that water is not three-dimensional. If it was, then no matter where we went into it, it would still put us in a swimming state. This also explains the fruit glitch from earlier. You see, the fruit disappears only when touching the surface of the water, the only thing that exists. But if Mario puts down the fruit below the surface of the water, then it doesn't pass through and therefore does not disappear. A good question to ask now is, if this is true, why can Mario wade in the water? If it really is just a surface, shouldn't he start swimming immediately? Well, now we have to talk about what the game defines as Mario, and in this case, it's not Mario's hitbox. The game actually defines Mario as this point in his hat. This is a very smart way to do this. If the point in his hat passes through the surface, then he swims, not if his hitbox does. So this point is the only part of Mario that actually interacts with water. This also explains why Yoshi can wade in the water and not drown, because Yoshi has one of these points as well. However, instead of swimming, when it hits the surface, he just dies. But now to answer the question of how the game makes you believe that the water is three-dimensional. First of all, the easiest thing to notice is that all the textures are darker under the water. Now this isn't because the water makes them darker, it's simply because it's an illusion to make you think that way. After all, our minds are trained to think of water as water, so if you don't focus on it, which 99% of players don't, then you have no reason to suspect anything. The same goes with fish. As far as the game is concerned, these fish aren't in anything, they're just programmed to move around their coordinates. Another illusion is the bubbles that come from Mario and FLUDD, and even the fact that Mario is swimming at all. Swimming is just a state that Mario is given when he passes through the surface plane of the water. So this is basically figured out. Now we just have to go through some of the weird mechanics water has. For example, there being multiple layers of water sometimes. Again, I'd like to state that these aren't 100% known facts, just educated statements. The most logical solution to this is that it's simply a backup in case the player somehow got through the surface. Most likely, the game detects if you're standing on ground that is under the surface level. Keep in mind that the surface stretches across the entire level, so you can't be below this and not in the water. So the game calculates this and puts a new surface of water beneath Mario's feet. Now you're probably asking why didn't this happen in the plaza. This is most likely due to the calculation somehow being based on stage geometry. You'll notice that these extra layers of water only happen in bodies that have somewhat complicated geometry, unlike the plaza being flat as well as Noki Bay. The next anomaly to look at is this zip glitch in Pianta Village. This is the only place in the entire game where this happens, and not coincidentally, this is also the only place in the game whose water surface does not intersect with a walkable surface. When the water ends, Mario is simply in midair. My best theory for this is that another intentional backup was put in place to stop Mario from getting out of water onto nothing. This was most likely intended to be used on bodies of water that are molded to their shore, so that if the water and shore don't exactly meet, Mario will be pushed down onto the shore and the player won't notice a thing. However, that hits a snag when for this particular body of water there is no shore at all, so the game zips Mario down to the nearest plane, which is the bottom of the level. Now I mentioned water that is molded to the shore. This is because almost all water is not. Water is usually a singular rectangular plane meeting the edges of the area it needs to fit, but on rare occasions, when it is needed, it is molded to the shore instead of extending. Before we move on to one of the last mechanics I'll cover in this video, I'd like to mention a few more proofs of the water's surface plane theory. When Mario is in the underwater glitch, he cannot collect water. If water was truly a three-dimensional object, then it wouldn't matter where you went into it, you would be able to do that. The same principle applies to Yoshi being able to go underwater as long as it is not through the surface. The next mechanic we're going to look at is the barrel underwater glitch. This is actually very simple. Remember that point in Mario's cap that the game pays attention to in relation to water. Now the same rule of fruit applies to barrels, except a barrel has to be a certain amount in the water before it explodes. We do the same thing we did with the fruit and get deep enough into the water so that when we place the barrel, it is placed under the surface. So how does Mario go under? Mario teleports on the Z-axis to the height of the barrel to pick it up. And when Mario's picking up animation plays, the game isn't paying attention to the point in his hat. So when it starts checking again, it will be under the water, but it never passed through the surface while being checked. Either that, or Mario is traveling too fast to be detected during the animation. Lastly, the fact that Mario runs insanely fast sometimes underwater. For this one, I really don't know. My best guess would be that either Mario's swimming and walking states are somehow mixed, or that a speed multiplier is usually applied meant for switching between swimming and walking. Lastly, I took a video of the Pianta Village zip in frame advance to show better how fast it really is. I also wanted to make it clear that there are other zips in the game, just none that behave exactly like that one. In any case, if anyone's wondering, I'm playing this on a real NTSCU GameCube on a Japanese disc using Freeloader, although all of these should be possible no matter what region you're in. Overall, the water mechanics in SMS look strange at first, but once you get familiar with them and their quirks, they're fairly simple and easy to understand. I hope this video is interesting. I try to answer some questions that I've gotten in comments on previous videos. If you have any questions at all about anything in this video, or you know more than I do on this and want to correct me, please ask in the comments below. I regularly check comments every day or so I hope to answer yours fairly quickly, and thank you for watching.